Hue, which is in the middle of the country, is visited by more and more tourists. On the riverbank, outside the walls of the Emperor's city, a pleasant park can be found, flanked by hotels and restaurants. The old city is called Citadel, although it was never a citadel, and hardly anything of it can be seen. But on its flag tower, the red flag with yellow stars flies proudly, and its friendly streets invite us for a walk. Emperor Tuduk is recorded to have had 104 concubines guarded by eunuchs. We don't know how many of them he really used. His successor, Min Mang, is recorded to have slept with 5 women each night, the result of which was 142 children produced by him. In the theater, classical Chinese plays were performed to entertain the emperor. After lunch, 5 concubines fulfilled his every wish. One of them prepared his tobacco for him, another one sang, another fanned him. The emperor's meals consisted of 50 courses every day, which were made by 50 cooks. Rice was sorted grain by grain, and of course there were people who tasted the dishes before serving. The descendants of the emperor's cooks still live in Hue, so in the restaurants here we can find some really enjoyable special dishes. There's no one to taste test before us, but there probably isn't anyone who would like to poison us. The monarchs of the Nguyen dynasty are buried in the cemetery known as the Emperor Tombs of Hue, south of the city. The ruinous cemetery is part of the World Heritage and is being renovated. The 4th emperor of the dynasty, Tuduk, was a philosopher, historian, and poet who wrote 4,000 poems. He planned his own tomb complex on a small island of a pond. The curiosity of the lavish tomb is that the emperor's carved sarcophagus is empty. It isn't known where the emperor really rests because the 100 servants taking part in his funeral were executed. The market in Hue meets the everyday needs of the people living here, and it isn't a place made for tourists. Maybe that's why it's interesting. Coconuts, mangoes, bananas, and pineapples are sold by their growers, but there are also pots and pans, household commodities, and flowers. Perfume, that is the fragrant river, which flows through Hue, is the 3rd most important river in Vietnam. By boat, we can approach the famous emperor tombs. The tomb of the founder of the Nguyen dynasty, Gia Long, was built on one of the small islands of the river. The tomb of Min Mang, who had 33 wives, countless concubines, and 142 children, was built in a huge park according to the maxims of classical Chinese architecture. We pass ships decorated with colorful dragon heads and depicting sea snakes and other monsters, and we go on coasting towards the southeast, towards Hoi An. The coast of Hoi An is 4 kilometers from the city on the east. We can reach here by taking part in an organized trip, but we can go by float. In the waters on the coasts, fishermen can expect an abundant catch. In the sea, they can catch herring and mackerel and sawfish, but the fresh water is also full of fish. There are a lot of kinds of crabs and turtles, which are often seen in the kitchens. On the coast, we can often encounter otters, which are water mammals with shiny fur. Among reptiles, geckos and lizards are worth mentioning. Both are very useful as they eat mosquitoes and flies, so they protect us from many inconveniences. The yellow, orange, blood red, purple, and gold play of light and the soft darkness over the sea provide us with an unforgettable sight, just like the tiny colorful lamps floating on the sea.